Hey, good morning, afternoon, good night, wherever you are. My name is Beth Osmer, and welcome to the Spiritual Warrior. I always want to say Facebook Live, but it's the YouTube Live because we've moved from Facebook to YouTube to oh my gosh, my computer is weird. Every Tuesday at 8:30 Pacific. Okay, give me 1 second. My computer is acting like really weird. Okay, I'm gonna have to work through it because it's not letting me move the screen. So hi Debbie. So if you're here, say hello in the chat and let me try and move this. Oh, I see what's wrong. Okay, got it. Say hello. Hi Debbie, nice to see you. Hi Janet, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Okay, so today's topic, every Tuesday I go live at 8:30 Pacific and we talk about different topics. And I was thinking about it today. I've been working in this energy of the spiritual warrior. And during the 20s, the decade of the 20s, it is the time of the spiritual warrior. And the word warrior means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And for me, it has meant to be able to stand in courageous leadership, whatever that leadership looks like to you. That means to stand in truth, courage, light, love, working on your shadow, not sticking your head in the sand, bringing your gifts forward, showing the world who you are as we navigate these times. The decade of the 20s is a time of deep, deep change and a time of deep shifts and a deep time of deep transformation. And I'm going to say this is what the trajectory I see, and I don't even know what's going to happen in 2023. No one really knows. Hi, Alice. What's going to happen in 2023? But what I am seeing is the ground is being laid, that truths are going to be starting to come out on the macro and on the micro. And we're seeing it kind of all over the place. So doing your deep inner work, and this is why this topic is why people don't heal. And I'm going to go into that in just a second, is so, so vitally important right now around doing your own healing work and shifting through layers of consciousness that are not serving you. Okay, so, and I'm doing my own work too. I'm working right alongside you. Okay, so why people don't heal, let's talk about that. That's not even my title. There is a book by Carolyn Myss, MYSS, called Why People Don't Heal. If you have not read that book, I highly, highly recommend that book. It changed my life. I read it maybe 15 years ago. And you can get it on audio and you can listen to it while you walk or whatever. But it's really profound and yet really, really simple. And what she says in the book, in so many ways, is that the reason people don't heal is because they keep going back to the Rolodex of their pain. So what she means by that is that people are constantly living in the past of their pain. Now, I understand that there is unchecked trauma. I absolutely 100% understand that there is some trauma that people have not worked through. There is unconsciousness around trauma as well. And I'm not saying that like not deliberate unconsciousness, but just unconsciousness. But as for the sake of this talk, this is more about knowing that you have the trauma, knowing that it's there, knowing that it's in the past, and you're continuing to draw on it over and over and over again. So let me give you an example. I used to do this all the time, and it kept me in the victim state. It kept me in the victim state. So it's like something would happen, and I would go back and I'd be like, oh yeah, I can pull out the fact that my dad killed himself at 5 years old right now in this moment, to 1, not show up, 2, collapse, 3, manipulate the situation. When whatever was happening, and I did this all the time, whatever was happening in that moment had nothing to do with the fact that I lost my dad when I was 5. But I knew that I could pull that card out and it would change the story and it would change the game and it would put whatever was happening like in my favor kind of thing. And it was just, I didn't know any better. But what it did was it kept reigniting the trauma in me over and over and over again. Years ago, this was years ago, I had a client who got like let go. She got laid off from her job. And she came to see me. Oh, I got black stuff. I got sage. She came to see me about 2 years after she got laid off from this job, and she hadn't found another job yet. Now, granted, she hadn't really been working that hard to find the job. 5 years, cut to 5 years in later, she still had not found a job. And the reason she didn't find the job, and we worked really hard on this, is because she was still drawing on the trauma of the past of losing her job the 5 years prior. That experience for her was so traumatic. And it was a normal firing. I mean, yes, nobody likes to be fired, nobody likes to let go, but my experience was that her ego got so bruised, and it brought up so much like childhood trauma for her that she stayed stuck in that time. Continued to stay stuck in the energy of the firing, and it kept her from getting a job. And she was one of the most educated people I knew. It had nothing to do with her resume, but she constantly would go, "Oh yeah, I got fired. Oh yeah, I got fired." And she stayed stuck and small. And I don't know what happened with her. We worked through it multiple times, but she kept going back into the Rolodex of her past and the Rolodex of that event, and was very attached to it. So when Carolyn Myss talks about why people don't heal, it's because they're often very attached to the past. They're very attached to what happened. And you'll see this in relationships again and again and again. Like when I was younger, I dated the same person over and over and over again because I was looking, and I didn't even know I was looking, for the same traumas and the same upsets to happen in that relationship. And it wasn't until I actually worked through all of my upsets that I was able to manifest something different. And I'll tell you one more quick story, and then I'm going to talk about what you can do about it. If this is something that you recognize in yourself, wow, I actually do that. Like sometimes I'll pull that card, a trauma card out or a past card out, to my wife, to my partner, to my husband, to my kids, or to my boss. And I'm in the hopes that I can wiggle out of something, or the hopes that I can win something, or the hopes that I can stay small and pulled back. I see this a lot with creativity. People that are incredibly creative, are artists, remember something that happened to them when they were a kid, where someone suppressed their artist, and they haven't healed from it. They haven't moved on from it, and they're not allowing their creativity to come through. I did that as well. I did all of these things, and on occasion I still do them. But recently, so one of my biggest patterns still to this day, and I have not fully worked through it, is somehow I invite narcissistic personalities into my energy field. I was raised by narcissists, and I'm still working on that shadow part of me that, I don't know, the empath in me that gets googly-eyed or wants to trust them so bad and wants to see past the narcissistic personality energy and see them in their highest. And I want so bad to see that. And somehow I continue again and again and again. So I'm still working on it. And here's the thing. This is why I'm not healing from inviting narcissistic energy into my energy field. This is the reason I'm not healing, is because there is still something from my past that I'm pulling in. There's still something I have not let go or healed. And for me, there's a past life that my soul, my spirit is so incredibly attached to that I feel I haven't moved through it. So I continue. I've done so much healing work, but there's something I'm attached to with that lifetime that I keep inviting this narcissist in. Okay, so for however saying that, I recently went through something. I haven't talked about it on a public level yet. I'm slowly getting there to talk about it. However, what I experienced was a deep betrayal by someone I hired as to coach me in business. My experience was that there was narcissism there. And when I actually spoke up against what was happening, this person wasn't showing up, kept canceling. I paid them large sums of money, and I actually just, spoke up and said, you keep canceling. And anyway, my point is, this person used their trauma to manipulate and control the situation. Meaning, like, this person got to very indignant and like, you don't know what trauma I've been through. How dare you not have grace and compassion because I keep canceling on you. It was like that. Like, how dare you have, I mean, this was like cancel after cancel, and one was in person that I had flown to. So to be there. And all I said was, you keep canceling. And it was this flip of pulling out her trauma card to put me in my place. And what I noticed was that what was interesting is, if I go back and think about it, this person uses the trauma card a lot, like using it in ways that, and it's just very interesting. And however, when we do that, we don't move through the trauma because we keep igniting it. We keep bringing it to the forefront. If we keep drawing on it and we keep using our past traumas as an excuse not to move forward, not to heal, or to manipulate, and sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it to manipulate. And sometimes I will do it with my husband. I'll be like, but you don't forget, and I'll pull the trauma card. Don't forget what kind of trauma I've been through. And it's this reverse entitlement. Like, you don't know what I've been through, so you should act ... When we do that, so let's say I did something to betray you or something to harm you, whether it was conscious or unconscious, but I did it. And I refuse to take responsibility for it. And I pull out and I said, but don't forget, I lost both of my parents before I was 5. Don't forget, I've been through so much abuse. You've got to forgive me for the thing that I just did. But then again, we're not talking about, it's like a 2-year-old, right? Like a 2-year-old diverts attention by having a tantrum. We can divert attention by bringing up the past. So now we're no longer talking about the thing at hand, right? Like, if I harmed you or I upset you, but then I talk about my past, I'm taking your attention and taking the responsibility off of what was transpiring between us. And now we're talking about something completely different. I was a preschool teacher for 10 years, and I saw kids do this all the time. Johnny hit Sue or whatever. And then, hey, Johnny, let's talk about the fact that you just hit your friend. And then Johnny is all of a sudden in a tantrum and talking about something else and diverting attention from the fact that they just hit their friend. And we're like, whoa. Let's stop crying, because now we're talking about, now I'm dealing with Johnny's tantrum as opposed to really addressing what's going on right here. I know that game. I played that game for many, many, many years, and I can still play that game. And then I catch myself and I'm like, oh, that's not the game I want to play. The game I want to play is radical responsibility. So why people don't heal is because they keep pulling out from the Rolodex of their past, their trauma. And a lot of it is that worked for a really, really long time when they were kids. It worked. I don't know if it worked for me or not, but it worked somehow. It must have worked because I kept doing it. Even if it worked to keep me small. I'm not going to play a big game in life because of all this trauma. So if any of this is landing for you and you notice or recognize any of it in yourself where, shoot, I go back to the Rolodex of my pain when it's convenient, or even if you're not using it in a way with other people, are you doing it in your own consciousness? Is there a part of you that slips into those pockets of pain, pockets of trauma, and remembers it? And if you are, that is a sign, just a sign like, wow, I'm doing that. That's a sign I get to move through this. Reach out for support and heal this. As we move into 2023, the thing I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody really knows. 2023 is going to be a very interesting, vibrant, wild year. But what I know is the more grounded we are, the more in our bodies, the more we work on our shadow parts and heal and get connected to the divinity within, the easier it's going to be. So if any of this is landing with you, and you're like, oh, I kind of do that, if any of this is landing with you, that is an opportunity. It's just an opportunity to really check yourself and move through it. Just like me, I found this, like, I got into another narcissistic situation and like, wow, okay, here we are again. And here's what I'm going to say before we end. If you're in the conversation of like, oh my God, I've healed this so many times, why does this keep happening? We are so layered. And there's levels of healing. Well, where the real healing it comes in, and why people don't heal, and why I love that book so much by Carolyn Miss is to stop using it as a way to remain a victim or play small in life. When we meet it and we heal it and we honor it, we're honoring ourselves. When I finally realized what I was doing with my pain of my past is when I realized I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's not working and it's not fair to myself or the people around me. And when we go into the holidays, it's like trigger station. It's like trigger Lollapalooza for the triggers, because people are around their families. Some people are even alone on Christmas, and it's really easy during the holidays to go into the pockets of the triggers. So take this time, this holiday, whether you're alone or you're with family, or you're like, hey, I'm going to do something that I really love to do, whatever it is. Just be mindful, because any little labyrinth or pocket you go to is really an opportunity to heal. And especially if you have parents and you're around your mom or dad and they trigger you, and then all of a sudden you're like a little kid again. You're like, uh-oh, I'm in the Rolodex of my past. And how do I want to show up this holiday? How do I want to heal through it? And make notes, mental notes on a paper, because 2023 gets to be the time of transformation. Because the more, like I said, the more grounded we are, connected to the earth, connected to nature, as we're moving and we're seeing the tides change with AI and all of this, we have got to stay connected to our divinity, to nature, and to who we are. And if we get sidetracked by our trauma of the past, then we're distracted. And I also honor real life trauma. I know it. I've worked with it for 20 years. I've worked with it in myself. And I truly believe when, with the right practitioner, the right modality for you, and the right intention and commitment, we can move through anything. We can move through anything. I'm living proof of that. That's why I go out and talk about this all the time. All right. So have an amazing holiday. Watch the triggers of your past. Watch if you go into the Rolodex of your past and pick up that book, Why People Don't Heal by Carolyn Miss, or get the audio. It literally changed my life. It was like boom, boom, boom. Lights went off. Fabulous book. All right. My name is Beth Osmer, and I will see you on the next video. And if you're still here, say hi in the chat and have a beautiful, happy holiday. All right.